Step into the world of Founders Dinner. Stories of entrepreneurial wins, losses, and lessons. Where the essence of entrepreneurship is unraveled in its most authentic form. Stas Balanevsky serves as your guide on this journey of discovery and inspiration. In each episode, Stas brings together entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds to share their stories. It's not just about their victories, but more about the resilience and adaptability they've shown in the face of adversity. These narratives are more than just stories. They are lessons in courage, determination, and the relentless pursuit of success. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, dreaming of launching your first venture, or an established business leader seeking new perspectives, Founders Dinner is your invitation to explore the transformative power of entrepreneurship. And now, without further ado, let's welcome the host of Founders Dinner, Stas Balanevsky.
So welcome to the Founders Dinner. I'm your host, Stas Balanevsky, and I have the pleasure of having my friend Kristian Pettengil here as my guest today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
Doing great.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much.
You're 38 again, I see.
38 for the 14th time.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's a gift to have you on the show. And
it was an honor when I noticed that it was your birthday, I was like, oh my goodness, what? I couldn't be happier to give you this gift.
Thank you. Thank you. So hopefully both of our subscribers will enjoy this episode. So
I think they will.
I hope so. So I'd like to hear about your entrepreneurial journey. Like, take me through how you've started, where you are now, what you're doing, and where you're headed.
Yeah, as I'm not sure what every entrepreneur goes through, but this was a long journey for me. From the concept, the idea, the pain that drove me. I didn't wake up out of college and say, I want to be an entrepreneur. When out of college, I joined the military. I got commissioned as an artillery officer. When I got out of the artillery, or when I got out of the Army, I went right into sales. And I spent the last 25 years in sales organizations at various levels. Most recently running sales for Baxter Healthcare, Baxter Surgical for North America. That said, I always thought I was going to be CEO of another company, of a large company, of a healthcare company. I never really had it I didn't think in my blood to start a company. But the frustration around, we're a lead generation. I started a lead generation organization, but the frustration around that lead gen world is really what drove me to start this company. We dumped hundreds of thousands of dollars with consultants. We hired lead gen companies, and we could never find a consistent solution. And that frustration drove me to start this company. From the ground up, we built this organization to answer for all of the challenges that I personally experienced, and other sales leaders that I polled and questioned about the lead gen market also felt. So we started our organization as a public benefits corporation, as a B Corp. And most importantly, the biggest driver behind that was we wanted to give call centers have about a 75% annual turnover on their call floor. And it's not coming from money. I didn't have any backers. I couldn't see a path forward if I was to start a call center and have 75% annual turnover and build the business. So as a public benefits corporation, we give the why to our callers. And that why is 25% of our profits go directly back into the community through nonprofits that are within the community that are selected by them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So every quarter they see that the impact of the work that we do, affecting our community and affecting the charities that they actually care about. Last year, we gave around $200,000 to the community, and it's an impact that they see. And as a result, we've had zero undesired turnover over the last 3 years on our call floor. And what that does is it allows us to create a consistency and really perfect, or get as close to perfection as we hope we can. But approach each client's prospect in a very particular way that's soft, that kind of overcomes all the barriers and biases that we all have against a cold call or a cold outreach. And as a result, we're able to deliver on meetings, prospecting, getting the messaging out there, I think better than anybody else in the country. And we do that a lot with methodology that I learned as an officer in the as a targeting officer in the military.
That is really amazing. I mean, taking the sum of all of your experience and putting your heart in it to create something that the world really needed. Because that's the whole thing. Like, if you zoom out, did the world really need another quote call center? No,
Yeah.
it did not, which is why you didn't create one.
Yeah. So we are the only, from everything that we do, right? Creating the why and how we outreach to the type of people that we recruit to be our callers. We don't go out and find folks that historically woke up one day and thought they wanted to be a sales rep or thought they wanted to be a sales development rep. We go out and we find actors, musicians, people who are used to putting themselves out there, putting themselves on stage and being told no more often than they hear yes. That, and they're also able to hold a character, hold a role, and really learn that voice for the customer. And it's a unique position that we've been able to kind of corner. We're the only public benefits corporation call center in the country. We're the only one that does this. And as far as what lessons learned, we'll get into that, I know. But one of the big lessons for me is how best, I didn't do a great job at the beginning and we're still learning and refining, but how best to differentiate us from the rest of the market. Mm-hmm. As a military guy and then as a team player within sales organizations, humility, being humble is core at what we do. And as an entrepreneur, I think you've got to be better and more open about getting out there and telling the world what makes you different, what makes you better. And we weren't great at that at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your humility is definitely one of your assets, but it sometimes does get in the way because you feel like you're being a bit of a self-promoter, which it's pretty awesome having watched you and your company develop, because both have happened, right? You're a different leader now than you were when we first met.
Yeah. You have to evolve. I mean, when I came in, it was really, when I started this, I was always, although I led sales organizations as a leader, it was, all right, you give your direction, you have your guidance, and you give marching orders. In this space, the marching order methodology didn't work. And I found I got frustrated a lot at the beginning, and I almost destroyed the company just through my unwillingness to listen to those folks around me at the beginning. It was my way or the highway. And I started going down the wrong path. And my wife and the people that I started, my other partners that we started, the founders that we started the business with, sat me down and like, look, you can't do this. So I had to have a come to Jesus with myself. And really adapt and change the way that I approach the people within the organization, take a more holistic approach to this, and really listen to the team and allow them to take ownership.
That's awesome. It's interesting. The thought that popped into my head is there's a stark difference between rigidity and focus, right? Like, you are laser focused, eye on the prize. This is where we're marching to.
Yeah.
But the rigidity of the march is the thing that has softened in you.
Yeah.
Where you're like, listen, I forget who told me this, but this is two people trying to get to the other side of a lake.
Yep.
You can go around the east, I can go around the west. As long as we end up on the other side of the lake in a timely fashion, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was the guy saying, build a boat and row yourself across the lake.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
We don't have any life jackets. Yeah. Look, I read books on entrepreneur. I read books on starting companies. I talked to people about starting companies, but starting something from the ground up, inventing something out of nothing. We came to Milwaukee. We started an organization that, again, the world didn't need another call center. The world no one was out there ringing a bell saying, we need this. But man, when you start building it, it's hard. And hard might not be the right word, but it's the hardest thing that I've ever done. I always prided myself on my ability to attack problems. But again, there was, once we went down this path, no one had ever gone down this path before. Creating a public benefits corporation, building a call center, finding clients. We didn't bring a book of clients with us to do this. We didn't steal them from another organization. It wasn't anything like that. We had to begin that outreach and learn as we went, because everyone thinks they can be a boxer till they get punched in the face. And that's it. I thought I would be a boxer. I have really fast hands. I was like, yeah, I could box. I can do this. And then I got popped in the face. I was like, dude, that hurts. And I didn't want to go back in and get punched in the face again. And you don't, it's like having a kid. Everyone can tell you how it is having a kid, but once you have a kid, it's, oh my goodness, there's really no book for this because again, it's your relationship with your child, it's your relationship with your organization, and it's a mental. It really is mental. It's mentally challenging, and it wasn't something that I anticipated.
That is really interesting because the thing, if you look at you look at a large cohort of entrepreneurs that go down your path, that go through the corporate world, they leave and they start their own thing doing the same thing that they were doing. That would have been like you leaving and starting a sales team, right? But you didn't, right? You left a world and you said, my sales team, and by extension, all sales teams need this. So I'm going to go create that with zero experience having created that. Yeah,
so it was really, and I apologize for cutting. It was really that frustration that I felt around lead gen. And I talked to sales leaders and business owners all that I worked with throughout the country. Like when I was thinking about this idea, I'd call them and say, and I'd pull them. I'd say, what do you think about lead gen? Have you had any positive experience? And to a man, to a woman, every one of them chuckled and they said, oh my gosh, I get 50 calls a day about a lead gen service. And they were so cynical. And I would dive in and I'd say, okay, that cynicism, where does it come from? And it comes from a frustration because they'd all tried it and none of them had been able to find a consistent solution. And so I'd point out at the end, I'm like, that cynicism, that frustration you feel comes from a place of you need something like this. If you could find something that actually worked, would it benefit your organization? Oh my gosh, yes. But the problem is none of them work. And that's where I knew that I had to come in and I had to try to do it different than anyone else had done it before. Because almost, again, man, I don't want nothing's really 90% in this world, but I'd say 75% of leaders there are annoyed, frustrated, irritated with the whole lead gen market.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody needs more greenfield opportunities. And if they could find a way to do that consistently, hands down, they would do it. And then once you kind of start to develop that, now you've got all these internal pieces that are moving around, right? You've got to have a team that onboards. You've got to have a team that does it right. You've got to have a team of account managers that manages those expectations of the incoming clients. In addition to having callers that are trained up to carry out this process, and all without having boatloads of money coming in to support this effort. So there were a lot of moving pieces that were at that, and you've got the human element on top of all of that, and personalities and conflicting goals within an organization that you just got to learn to get everyone pointed in the same direction and rowing at the same pace.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me about where you're rowing to. What's the future? Where's this thing going?
We started by going out after really small clients, and we got some traction there. And as our company matures, we're really looking to kind of move into the enterprise space and grow the organization. I'd like to get right now we're right around $5 million. I'd really like to get between $25 and $50 million in annual revenue, which would give us the opportunity to give several $1 million back to the community. And at that level, you're really making an impact. You're starting to have more influence with the nonprofits. You're able to have a bit more influence with those folks. But I think at that level, we'd really be able to start to make our mark on the community and on Milwaukee as a whole. And then from there, who knows? One of the reasons why I really got into the kind of the idea of starting a company was for my family and for those who join the organization. Everybody here has equity. The management team is highly invested in our success. And I'd really like to be able to reward everybody at the end of the day once we're at that level.
That's amazing. It's funny. I was working with a client the other day on marketing strategy, and they're a charity here in Buffalo. And you know how it goes, right? There's lots and lots of words and lots of word salad, and we're trying to go from the messy to the clean, and we're trying to simplify and distill. And in the middle of this thing, the marketing director says, gifts close to home have an immediate impact. I was like, all right, thank you, folks. That's it. We're done. Gifts close to home have an immediate impact.
Yeah.
And the way you act locally is the thing. Like, you can see the thing that you do like tomorrow out your windows, which is really, really awesome. And
yeah, I mean, we have fun every day. And look, call centers, and especially when you're cold calling, some days are better than others, right? The day before the 4th of July, and we're in here working and we're calling. No one wants to be bothered. No one wants, there's not very many pickups. So we've got to do things that kind of keep everybody engaged. And because again, it does, every pickup is magic, right? It's a moment for magic. Right. It's an opportunity to change a client's future. We've got outsourced engineering companies that, man, we book a meeting with Tesla, right? And Tesla likes to do business with other companies in the US. And that meeting it changed the local organization. They've got a huge contract with Tesla, and they're helping them on the R&D side of the house. And it changed the face of the organization. And it was all from our ability to set up that introduction. And those are things that, oh man, I love doing it. But if you're not ready for that pickup, if someone was on their cell phone, or somebody's goofing off or playing a game, and the head of R&D from Tesla picks up the phone, and you're not ready to engage that conversation using the language of our client, it never would have happened. And we know that. And as a result of meetings like that, we're now getting referrals from our clients, because again, we're doing what most people thought was impossible.
Yeah.
We're actually conducting lead gen.
Yeah. So on your journey to creating the impossible, I know it was not a smooth journey. And that's the whole thing, right? Entrepreneurship is, I always say, it's kind of linked to recoveries. I sort of live my life and ski race the same way. It's just, I'm falling, but I'm not. I'm falling, but I'm not. And can you tell us a story about a misstep, a misread, a thing that went wrong? And then we can dig into the lesson, and then how you've applied that lesson in subsequent successes.
Yeah, I get it. You think you have all the answers until you get punched in the face. Yeah. And I grew up a sales guy, right? Finding clients isn't the problem, was never going to be the problem. I knew if I could just put myself in front of somebody, identify somebody that's experienced pain in the past around lead gen. If I could have a conversation with them face to face, I could explain philosophically what made us different, why we started the organization. And I knew we could bring clients on. But what I really underestimated the support that you needed on the back end. Once you bring the client in the front door, all the things that because this is all new experience for them too. Mm-hmm. So every interaction that they have with our organization is a moment of truth. And if we're not prepared on the onboarding side of the house, if we're not prepared on the handoff from onboarding to account management, and in a lot of cases we weren't, and what we ran into was clients that would they'd say, oh, here we go again, right? Even before we had the opportunity to begin a call program, we would have frustrated clients. And once you're frustrated inside the store, you put yourself behind the 8 ball. And we lost some clients at the beginning prematurely due to our lack of readiness around those pieces. And a lot of that was my fault. The staff wanted to but I wanted to start bringing revenue in the door. I wanted to get people in, and we rushed it, and it caused a lot of problems at the beginning. And then you have this kind of accordion effect where you're bringing folks in, and you don't know, it's hard to forecast, and it's hard to forecast on employees, and that it just snowballed, right? The problems from the beginning, it snowballed, and then you have an accordion effect regarding employees, regarding callers. We have callers that are too busy or not busy enough. And it was, I don't want to say it was a nightmare, but man, that the ups and downs that you experience as a business owner, it's unlike anything else you have, because it's all on you. And as I got into this, there are books out there on how to overcome depression as an entrepreneur. Kobe Bryant was a competitor, but you can't, and what I started to focus on, because of that, was fixing the problems. And you start to focus on the problems, everything becomes a problem. And if you're viewing everything as a problem or an obstacle, that's all you're seeing. And you're not seeing it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. And Kobe Bryant was look, you're going to make some shots, you're going to miss some shots, but you can never, if you miss a shot, you can't beat yourself up over missing the shot, because the next shot you might make. And the more you focus on the shot you miss, the less likely you are to take more shots. And the name of the game is taking shots and creating opportunity. And so what I had to have, I got into that mode where and I'm going around fixing problems. I was confrontational. If I identified a problem, I got to fix it right now. And that kind of goes into the change that I had to experience. And, now when we identify a problem, we'll go to the team lead or the person that's responsible for that particular business segment. And we'll talk about the problem. and have an open discussion and welcome. What do you think we should do about this?
Mhm.
How do you think we should approach this? Right. And their idea, their guess is just as likely to be successful as my guess or as my assumption, and probably more so because they're in the middle of it.
Yeah, they're closer too.
So, yeah, they're closer, even though we're one office apart or they're down the hall. They're in it all day long, every day. So the likelihood of them having a solution, and the more I do that, the more open they are about bringing those solutions, the more open they are about working through solutions. Now they come to me and say, all right, we've got this, we've identified this problem, we've identified this sticky point, and here's what I think we should do.
That's
And
amazing, because then that gives you more
that makes my life, it's a brighter day when that stuff happens.
Well, then it leaves more room in your brain to be the visionary that you are, to go do the next thing,
Correct.
to go expand and go talk to the next client. Because in terms of going out and getting enterprise clients, you're the tip of the spear, right?
Yeah.
You're the guy that's going to go get that. So if you're not fixing a problem in the back of the house, you can be in the front of the house, which is really your highest and best use.
Yeah. The another thing that I didn't do well was I don't like asking for help. And I worked with a lot of really smart people throughout my career. And it wasn't until the last 6 months that I started reaching out to those folks and asking them for advice. I knew marketing folks that are brilliant marketers. And I finally reached out and said, hey, can you do me a favor? I'm not in a position to pay you, but could you take a look at my website and let me know what you think? And brutally, like, I don't want to tell you anything. I don't want to, but could you look at it? And then we had that conversation. And what I found was people are happy to help. They're happy it's kind of a human thing. If you ask for help, you can't ask the same guy to help you move every 6 months, right? That's not what I'm talking about here. But to reach out into that kind of that family of business leaders and those relationships that you build over a lifetime, you don't have to do this alone. The struggles in life don't have to be attacked on your own. You've got this army of friends that really are happy to offer support whenever you need it.
Absolutely. Well, you really roll in a help first kind of way, right? I know a lot of the people that you know, and at 201, they're all help first.
Yeah.
Which is really cool, because the beauty of it is, no matter how successful they are, how much they're struggling, they get a charge out of doing the thing that they do. Right. So you're a marketer, to look at a website is just, I do that for fun. Right.
Yeah.
It's just fun for me.
Yep.
Whenever.
We just had a conversation last week about it, and one of the marketers got on. She said, so I looked at your website, and I get it. Your lead gen, your qualified meetings, but how and who do you do it for? She's like, these are very, so when somebody finds you or they go on your website, they may not even know that what you do pertains to them. And I know that you've got 20 years of medical device experience behind you, but if I'm a medical device company and I go on there, it's like, oh, this probably doesn't pertain to me. Right. So, and she's like, and that's a big miss right on the front page, right? Is how can you help me? Right. What's in it for me? And I was like, holy shit, we've been doing this now for 3 years. Our 3-year anniversary is coming up on July 15th in 3 days.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Next month on Monday. And that website was the one with kind of the first thing that we popped up. Now we built it ourselves and we did it internally, and I'm a big guy on WIFMs, but we've been missing the WIFM on our website since day one.
Yeah. It's funny, right? Cobbler's kid, no shoes.
Yeah. It's just a new set of eyes looking at it. And it took her 10 minutes and we had a 30-minute conversation to discuss it. And it was like, thank you. And she gets a gift basket.
Not only does she get a gift basket, but she also gets the satisfaction of having helped someone in a significant way. Because knowing your drive, I know you didn't go, okay, great. So we'll put that on the long-term issues list and we'll see when we get to it. I'm sure you were like, all right, team, today,
here's what we got to do. How do you think we should go about getting this fixed?
Yeah, that's awesome. So from the lesson that you've learned, I mean, I'm hearing lots of different things. I'm hearing a lot of humility. I'm hearing a lot of, you can't just brute force stuff sometimes, have to ask for help, have to have other people involved. I'm really getting an other people theme from the lessons that you've learned over these last couple of years.
A business is a community. It's a microcosm of the larger community. And I went from being a solopreneur into running an organization that has all of these different kind of segments of business that need to be, again, each person's rowing in the same boat. And if we're rowing in different directions at different paces, it doesn't work. And if I'm pinging back and forth and it's not a cohesive kind of community, it's not going to work. And that was the biggest piece, was that it takes an army. It takes a group of people that kind of all have everyone knows what the vision is, right? Clearly identifying what that vision looks like, clearly communicating what that vision looks like, and then being okay to rely on the entire staff to assist with that and to trust them to drive their own direction.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. It's interesting. When you first started describing the issue of wanting to just brute force volume into the top of the funnel through the machine, the thing that I started thinking about immediately was it a people problem or a process problem? But I think the third leg of that stool could have been a trust and accountability problem, where
Sure, on my part, yeah.
Said, because you probably had the processes or had the people that could have created them. You probably had enough people, but because we always say the neck is at the top of the bottle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So of those three things, which of those three do you think was the thing that once you fixed, it just sort of went? Was it a process problem, a people problem, or a trust and
I think that once it was a me problem, but once I removed myself from every single problem and trusted the people, the processes were able to move forward. I was the bottleneck at the top of the funnel.
Yeah.
I was the bottleneck at the top of the growth of the development. I needed to have my hand in everything, or I thought I did. That's the way I ran things in the past, but this isn't like that. And the more ownership, if you get the right people on the bus, and we worked really hard to do that. We started with a management heavy organization because we knew these processes needed to be created. And as we grew, I knew at least I had a vision or a plan as what I needed in order to make that happen, in order to keep the ship afloat. I keep using all these ship analogies, and I wasn't even in the Navy. I'm going to be, so in order to keep the tank moving forward. But once I learned to trust and allow the people that also trusted me to be part of this organization and come in at the beginning of our little journey, the processes were allowed to flourish. The company was then able to grow at scale. But I'd say me recognizing that I was a big part of the problem at the beginning was something I had to learn.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've watched you learn it. It's really huge. And it's interesting. I'm thinking a thought that popped into my head about trust, right? Like I have always believed, and I think you're changing my view. I've always believed that trust is earned. I'm starting to believe now more than ever the trust is given and then taken away if it's
trust is given and it can be lost.
Right. Whereas I've always been like, you're at 0 and you need to get to 10 before I trust you, versus walking in and saying, you're at 10.
Yeah.
10 until you prove to me that you're a 9 or an 8 or a 6 or whatever.
And trust is really a 10 or a 0.
Right.
If somebody breaks your trust, right, it's lost. If someone steals from you, it's lost.
Yeah.
Right. And there are things like trust is a feeling. It's almost like love, right? It's there or it's not. But here's the thing. Trusting in people, most people, the vast majority of people don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go into work and do nothing. And I'm going to screw my boss, or I'm going to screw the company. Most people, and especially you're good-hearted folks, they come in and they want to do good. They want to have an impact. They want to go home in their heart of hearts. They want to go home and feel proud of the work that they did that day. And the more ownership and the more faith that is put in them, the more they take the reins and drive their portion, and the more pride they take in their work. But it all begins with the trust that is given to them at the beginning.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
It's a human thing, right? You wake up, you don't wake up and be like, I'm going to go into work today and I'm going to give my clients bad advice. I'm going to do X, Y, or Z. No, we don't always succeed in everything that we do, but man, we'd prefer if we did succeed versus not.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting. If you go into it, see, I've growing up, I was always sort of a skeptic, right? I would go in and be like, okay, that's fine. Prove to me that I can trust you. And I think that's a lot of blocks and a lot of barriers versus being open enough to say, I trust you. And then understanding that the math of it is you're going to get hurt
Well, and
sometimes.
if again, if you, you've got to train yourself in this, because again, even if somebody does mess up,
Mhm.
they probably didn't mean to, right?
Right.
It wasn't, they didn't do it maliciously. It was either, if you really back up, either your communication wasn't clear enough, your direction wasn't clear enough,
Mm.
or they just heard it differently and were trying to, again, trying to do what they could do with the resources that they had. And to go in and blow that up, how could you do this? It was very clear. I told you to do this and you did this. That doesn't work very often. And again, that the person probably, if you got the right people on the bus, the individual wasn't trying to do it incorrectly.
Right.
And once you realize that, there, you don't lose trust in that person. And now you're having a real conversation. You're backing up. Okay, let's just fix it. Because the emotional side of it, the upset side, that anger that might come out, or the defensiveness that might come out, you've still got the problem that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And you're going to fix that problem. You're going to fix that problem it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to fix that problem if you're both calm and clear-headed and moving, and the team is moving forward. Because again, it all comes back to, they're not here to screw you over.
Yeah.
They want to see, it's like when you give your child advice, right? And as teenagers, they really push back on that advice. They push back on anything. I don't think you understand what's going on here. You think I'm giving you advice that will screw you up? Nobody in this world cares more about you succeeding than me as your parent, and your
Right.
mother as your nobody. So just remember, and it's hard to teach a teenager that, right? That just remember that with the advice I give you, it comes from out of the entire world, nobody cares more about giving you. I want my advice to be sound. And the employees that come in, the people that work for you or with you that are part of your organization, they want it to succeed. They want to be part of an organization they can be proud of. And just by being on the bus and being with you, that trust has to exist.
It's so awesome that where you are now is just setting the direction, encouraging. And if any listener wants to figure out how to have a LinkedIn game that is genuine and is all about the team, follow Kristian. Like, you are out there celebrating all the time with your team, every milestone.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, happy belated birthday to the Sales Hounds.
Yesterday, the day before you. Yeah. Yeah, it was. They actually see. What's weird is that the puppies. So we love having animals around here, right? They're, especially the little bassets. It brightens your day. Everybody, when you see a basset hound, you just smile. And that basset hound, he's always happy to see everybody. When he comes in, he howls when he gets on the sales floor. He goes around and sees to every cubicle. Now he's looking for a snack. He's looking to steal something, but he is in there and he is happy to see the person because he's hoping to get a snack. And it puts a smile on every caller's face, and it puts a smile on everyone's face. And we love having the animals here. I'm happy that we're in a building that allows us to do that. And one of our charity, we support animals. We support the Wisconsin Humane Society. They're a big partner of ours. And so everybody here supports that organization. So to be able to have pets, or sometimes we've got a tortoise roaming the halls looking for lettuce, but these are things that we've got to do to celebrate life.
Yeah. You are exceptional at that, man. That's really, really
well,
cool.
Not all the time. I still have my downs. I still come in pissy sometimes, and we work through problems. And when you lose it, sometimes you lose a client, and it's not the end of the world. And being able to be clear-headed about it. You look at why it happened. Sometimes it happens because nothing you did, but they just got their business went down a little bit, or because everybody's going through their own stuff. And most of the folks that we do business with are entrepreneurs on their own. And the longer I've done this, the more understanding I am with the shit they're going through.
Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you.
It is a community. And I'm so happy to be part of your community.
Oh, thanks, buddy. No, it's great. It's funny. The title of the podcast, Founders Dinner, is everyone's, that's a cool title. I'm like, yeah, because it's a thing. They're like, what do you mean it's a thing? No, I actually have founders dinners in Buffalo, get a bunch of founders together and drink a bunch of wine, tell a bunch of stories. And it is an absolute rip, because I believe that we need a village.
Yeah.
right? And that village, like the impact, it's funny, the impact that you've made on my family by getting my now 21-year-old when he was 18 to do research on 43 North. His ability to do that has gotten him confidence, has gotten him gigs, has opened doors. And that was just because you're part of the village and you were like, hey, kid, go
But how small of a world is it that we lived in Charleston, you live in Buffalo, your son's roommate turned out to be a friend of my oldest daughter's from Charleston.
Yeah.
Like
Just crazy.
crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
And we didn't meet each other because of that interaction.
No.
We found out about that after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely wild.
It's a small world.
It sure is. And that's the beauty of it. That's why if you do good things in this small world, you get known as, oh yeah, that's the good guy that does good things.
Yeah.
And I was at 43 North yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just giving a talk, helping out. They're going through their next cohort. And
That's a great organization. They do a lot of good work. I love what they do up there.
Yeah, $5 million a year given out to entrepreneurs. Yep. They are truly incredible. But yeah, it's funny, right? Buffalo, Milwaukee, they're rugged little towns that love their entrepreneurs.
They're like fraternal twins.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're very similar, right? We're on the shores of the Great Lakes. It's the sport support, the kind of ruggedness that no matter what your team's going through, they're still behind them.
That's
Man, I wish we had an NHL team though.
Yeah, so do we. Sorry.
That was pretty funny. Man, you can be funny sometimes.
Yeah.
But I love Buffalo. I tell you, the first time I flew up to Buffalo was to go to a board meeting for Efferent Labs right there at the University of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize it, but it was a Friday before, it was a Friday before a home game. I was on Delta. Delta's not out of Buffalo. But as we're landing, the flight attendant gets up and starts talking about the game, and the entire game breaks out into a fight song. Or the entire game, the entire plane. Everybody on the plane except for me started singing some song. I don't know what the Buffalo fight song is, but the entire plane. I wanted to move to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Like, how all these people coming back to their homes, coming back to where they grew up to go to a Buffalo Bills game. It was really cool. It gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, anytime I see somebody wearing a Bills jersey, go Bills.
Buffalo strong, man.
Yeah, we were in Florence and I'm walking and there's a Bills jersey. I'm like, yeah, go Bills. And my wife, seriously? I'm like, yep, absolutely. And the guy was like, yeah, man, go Bills. So Sam's moving to London. Nice. And one of the first things we looked for was a Bills backer bar. And there's one right in London, and there's not a preseason game when we're there because we're dropping them off around Labor Day. But we're going to go. No game. We're just going to go.
There's a Packers bar in Charleston.
It's so great.
It is great. Yeah, they take it with, right? Someone leaves Green Bay, they go somewhere else as an engineer, whatever, working for Boeing. They start a bar, and it's Packers. There's a Cubs bar down there too. But I think I've heard that the Kansas City Chiefs bar in New York City is pretty phenomenal.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm not a Chiefs guy, but
me neither, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, we were at a bar that used to be a franchise from one of the wing places in Midtown. So we were in Manhattan a couple weeks ago, and we went to watch some of the Euros there. And we got chicken wings. We got proper chicken wings and drank a whole lot of beer with the boys and all of their friends, because that was the move out bar. Whenever the kids were moving out from school, we would pack up and that would be the dinner. And so we've done it for years. So now we just go to All Stars and have wings and beer.
Nice.
That's
I love family traditions.
Aren't they great?
They are.
Buddy, I am so grateful that you took the time and you told us your stories, and I'm just super, super grateful.
And I'd like on your birthday, you've been a huge help for us. I'm a big believer, and ever since I was given a book when I was down in Charleston, I read the book, it was like, gosh, this is just, if every business was run like this, it'd be a beautiful thing. EOS it is, and I'm not sure if when the book was written, he had in mind that it was going to become this, I don't want to say religion, but this movement,
Yeah.
right? And it's a community. It's a community of business leaders. It's a community of implementers who are really there to help. And every implementer that I've run across, that's what they want to do, is help first. And it comes from a place of service. And that's why it's growing. And it's a beautiful model. And I thank you for, assisting us as we navigate that path.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Gino really created a beautiful thing some 20 plus years ago. And there's 800 of us now, 800 EOS implementers around the world.
That's amazing.
4 years ago, my boot camp had the 400th EOS implementer. So we've doubled in 4 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's incredible. It's my life's work. And it was funny. I was sitting around with the kids, and one of the kids was like, I'm not sure what I want to do when I grow up. I'm like, well, I figured it out when I was 47. So you've got a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. It's all good.
Amen. The other day, my daughter number 2 is going to Hawaii. She's transferring to Hawaii. She was struggling. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to, I major in this, but I don't know if that's what I really want to do. I was like, drop out, just drop out and go start a business. This is the time to do it. Just find something that you love doing and go do it as an independent business owner. I was like, 'cause this is when you can do it. I had 4 kids, a wife of 26 years when we started this. And boy, that's not, nothing. It's never the right time, I guess, or there's always going to be struggles, but woo, if I could have had a time machine, I would have done this. I would have done this back at the very beginning.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have known what problem you needed to solve.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's why I need a time machine.
That's right. Well, when you get a time machine, you let me know.
Oh, brother, when I get a time machine, I'm gonna license that thing, and Bill Gates will be asking us for handouts.
Yeah, I just need a newspaper from 2 days from now, and I'm good.
All right. All right.
One copy of the Wall Street Journal from the 17th of July, 2024. I'm done.
All right. All I need is the sports page.
Right. Same thing.
Yeah. I think there's a Back to the Future movie about that, but
there is indeed.
All right, Stas.
So that concludes this week's episode of the Founders Dinner podcast. For those looking to connect with Kristian, his link is going to be in the description. And yeah, if you need somebody to go make phone calls, get you business, he's your guy. And this is Stas Balanevsky signing off, and I'll see you all next week.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Founders Dinner. Stories of entrepreneurial wins, losses, and lessons. Once again, we've journeyed through the inspiring and challenging world of entrepreneurship with Stas Balanevsky, uncovering stories that illuminate the resilience and adaptability at the heart of success. Each narrative shared today is a testament to the unyielding spirit of our entrepreneurial guests, providing lessons in courage and determination. We hope these stories have not only entertained, but also inspired you. Whether you're taking the first steps in your entrepreneurial journey or are a seasoned leader in the business world, Founders Dinner is more than just a podcast. It's a community of learning, inspiration, and connection. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more insightful episodes and join our vibrant LinkedIn community to continue the conversation, share experiences, and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs. Until next time, keep embracing the entrepreneurial journey. This is Stas Balanevsky, thanking you for being a part of the Founders Dinner family. See you at the next dinner.